Hey y'all, welcome to She Talks a Lot. Who is she? She is me. Now let's talk. All right, so in this video, you're getting a tutorial on how I achieved this look. So these are Crochet Faux Locs. Actually, I guess I would call them more like illusion crochet faux locs because from the front and from the back, from the front and the bottom, they look like individuals. So they are individual, but they are still crochet locks in the front and around the perimeter. So, you know, you have versatile styling capabilities, and then there's 2 rows in the bottom as well that are individual, but in the back, it's actually traditional crochet. I did this in an effort to save time, but you will see in this video that it still took a while. In total, it took me about 9 hours to do this hairstyle. I did pull an all-nighter. And that's part of the reason I wanted to film like an intro for this video, like a separate intro, because delirium started to set in at about the 7-hour mark. But yeah, I am glad that I sat through it, got it done, because they came out very cute. I mean, I know the back probably doesn't look as great as the front or the bottom does, because by the time I got to braiding my cornrows, I was already kind of, I was losing steam. So I kind of gave up on making the parts cute back there, but you really can't see it because the locks cover it. I'm pretty sure I show you the back of my head in the footage from me actually doing my hair, but I did not have enough locks to fill in the back of my head the way I wanted to, so it was a little more sparse then. This is what the back of my head looks like now. So you really can't see any of my cornrows. I don't think you could see them before either. I actually asked one of my friends, she came over the next day. We actually went out the next day. And she said she couldn't see my cornrows. So, but that was before I had added the additional hair. So now you probably definitely can't see them. And for this style, you really only need a few things. First of all, a crochet hook. This is the one I use. This is the one I'm most familiar with. There are other styles, but this is probably the type you would find at your beauty supply store. I know there's some that don't have the latch closure. I would not recommend those because it's a lot easier to snag your hair on the way out if it does not have the latch. So you want to make sure you have a crochet needle that actually has the latch to close the opening. So when you slide the hook back through your cornrow or through your individual braid, it's not gonna grab on the way out. And then secondly, you're going to need a edge control or pomade. You probably could even use maybe a gel. I used the Edge Booster the Edge Booster pomade for coarse and thick hair. I probably should have grabbed that jar, but it's in my bathroom right now. I'll insert a little video of what that looks like, but you'll also see it in the video, so don't worry, you will see the product that I used. And then I did use 4 packs of these free tress braid Bona locks, 24 inches in the color number 2. This is the remainder of what I had left. So I didn't use a full 4 packs. I used almost exactly 3.5. So each pack comes with 3 of these bundles, and each bundle has 10 locks. So I used these 3 full packages. So these are all empty. So 3 full ones, so that was 90 locks here. And then I used 13 out of this one. So in total, I have 103 locks in my head right now. And then for wrapping for the individual locks, because you only have to wrap for the individuals, I used this hair. So this is actually the second pack that I had. I only ended up using 1, and I didn't even use a full one because it actually does not take as much hair as you might think to wrap and cover your natural hair at the base of your lock. But this is the outre. I think I heard that's pronounced outre, but I've always said outre. But outre Expressions, this is from their Twisted Up line, and this is Water Wave Fro Twist 22-inch 2X, which means 2 bundles. So there's 2 bundles in the package, and this is also in the color number 2. It says this works for butterfly locks and distressed locks. I mean, the package called these Bona locks, so I guess it works for that too. But I kind of took a gamble on both of these types of hair. I went into the beauty supply store, not having really done much research. The inspiration for this video, or for really not even for this video, but for me to do my hair this way, was actually Kimberly Sherrill's video. She did crochet mini twists, but she did individual over her entire head, but she started them like locks. And that just reminded me of, because I have done this style actually almost exactly this way once before. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I did where it was individual crochet around the perimeter and then traditional crochet in the back. And they were faux locks, but I did not wrap my hair. They were the type of locks that are hollow in the middle. I don't know if anybody... I don't know how many locks are really like that. Maybe these are even like that, but I didn't try it. But they were hollow, so I just crocheted my braid inside, like attached the braid at the root and then crocheted my hair inside of the lock. That did not work as well as this is working because my hair did pop out that way. So wrapping is definitely a better method. And I'm glad I did it this way this time because these are very secure. I will say, if you plan on following this tutorial, maybe try to wrap a little bit looser because my locks at the base are pretty stiff. I'm sure they'll loosen up as time goes on. Right now they are only, let's see, I finished my hair Saturday morning and it is currently Monday. So they're almost 3 days old. So not very old at all. They're still pretty fresh. And I did do them pretty tight. So I do still have some tension. So it's not as easy for me to like flip them over. Like you see, you flip it and it stands up. So wrap your locks a little looser at the base, but as they loosen up, I'm sure they'll lay a little easier. And you can mold them down. Like if I tied a scarf on this, or even just, you know, kind of bent them a little bit because they are pliable, then I can kind of get it to, you know, lay a little. But yeah, so that's that on these. I gave you a few tips and tricks, but I'll probably go even into more detail and maybe even repeat myself because this is mostly a voiceover, but I do pop in the midst of my delirium to talk to you guys. So, I hope y'all enjoy, and now let's get into the tutorial. All right, so we're starting off by taking down the style I was wearing my hair in before. This is a week-old blowout. I just had 2 braids in the front. Now we're going through and detangling. And here we are sectioning off the portion of my hair that I'm going to use for the individual locks in the front. I am making sure that this section goes past the highest point of my head, so that way when you're looking at me from the front, you can't see any of my cornrows. That is something I learned from the first time I did this style. My cornrows started up a little bit higher than where they are now, and looking at me from the front, you could kind of see where the method changed. And here I am with a handheld mirror, just trying to see how straight my part is. There are easier ways to do this, but this is just what I had on hand. And now we're pulling out the Edge Booster, Style Factor Edge Booster pomade for thick and coarse hair. And I'm just applying that to my part. All right, now we're looking again and cleaning up the part. You can't see, but in my right hand, I actually have a rat tail comb. And I was just going in there and cleaning up the part. It's not crazy clean, but also I can't really see the back of my head. I'm a one-woman show here. Can't ask for too much. So now I'm just combing or brushing all that to the front so we can section that off. All right, showing you my part, even though you really can't see it. Don't know why I chose that angle, but you know, you live and you learn. This is my first time doing a video like this. So now we're moving on to the back of our head. We're going to go ahead and apply some of that pomade to our kitchen so that we can comb that up and get it blended in with the rest of our hair. You want your kitchen to be smooth. There we go. Now we're going in and making our first part in the back, just straight across. If I recollect correctly, the part does not look that straight to begin with. Oh no, this one's pretty good. Okay. Not perfect, but pretty good. So once you have that sectioned off, now I'm pulling out my handheld mirror just to double check my part again, and I've apparently deemed that to be satisfactory. And now we're applying some more of that pomade. Please ignore the way it looks when I apply it. Once it's smooth, then you can't see it. Okay, and now we're combing that through just to make sure that the roots of my hair have the product all the way through so it's smooth. And then we're cleaning up the part a little bit more. Double checking with the mirror once again. There we go. I mean, I see where it could have been better, but it's fine. And now we're parting off the section for our first braid. So I just used the tooth portion of the comb to section that off. I didn't even pull out the rat tail because I can't see the back of my head. And then we're going to clip the other hair from the back off to the side so we can start our first braid. I don't do anything fancy when I start off my braids. I just feel for my hair and then try to grab 3 equal pieces, as equal as I can get them, and then just start braiding from there. And you want to braid pretty far down. You'll see how far down I go in a second here. There we go. Yeah, so you want to leave like 1 to 2 inches of hair loose. The amount of hair you leave loose is solely determined by how long your hair is to begin with. If you leave too much hair loose, you run the risk of your braid unraveling before you even get to the crochet portion. But you saw there how much I left behind, so about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And then we're moving on to our next braid. So I ended up with 5 braids in the back, in the nape of my neck. All right, and then we're just going to clip those down. So we are doing 2 rows of individuals in the back, and this is just so if you do decide to wear your hair up, it will still look as seamless as the front does, and you'll still have the illusion of having a full head of individual locks. Applying some more of that pomade, and then making our second row part. I'd have to say parting is probably the most time-consuming portion of or at least for me, of styling my hair or styling hair in general, especially if you want your parts to be clean and or straight. As you can see, it is definitely not clean on the first try. That one was horrendous. It gets better though, I promise. It doesn't stay that bad. All right, so just applying some more of that pomade, smoothing that down. Yep, and there I'm feeling where it's not doing so hot. We're gonna go in with the comb and fix that up. Here we go. And there we go. That's much better. Still not perfect, but much better than it was. Okay, and then combing that up, making sure every hair is on the side that it belongs, double checking with the mirror, and then, yep, checking both sides. Okay, and then we're making a braid starting on the other side. It really doesn't matter which side you start on, but I do try to make a point of alternating sides as often as possible, just to avoid my arms getting stiff or like my body feeling, uneven, basically. I find that if you alternate, you reduce the chances of body pain after you're done doing your hair, because if you spend too much time on one side, once you get to the other side, you're basically shot. As from my experience, my arms are tired, weak, sore, but if you alternate, that kind of balances it out, so that way you're equally as tired on both sides. But here we go, still braiding. Yep. Yeah, as I'm filming this or recording this voiceover, I'm realizing I probably could have cut out more of this video than I did, but it is what it is. I wanted you guys to be able to see what the process looked like. It is pretty involved. It would have taken much longer had I done individuals all over my head, but that is why I decided not to. So there we are, leaving that 1 to 1.5 inches off or loose at the end of our braid. And now we are done with our back 2 rows. And I'm going ahead and going to smooth on some more of the pomade on the part between the front section of my hair and the cornrow section of my hair. And this is just to make sure that that back section stays smoothed down and doesn't get caught up in any of the individual braids I'm going to do in the front. I'm going ahead and clipping that out of the way. And now we're starting our front individual braids. And I did start off on the sides of my head, and I'm parting my hair horizontally. And if you can see how my finger is like resting on my head, I'm using that as a guide to make sure I don't stick the comb in the section of my, like in the middle section of my hair, and mess up my part. So that's kind of a trick to be able to catch it. Once you feel the comb hit your finger, you know to stop pressing down to your scalp to make the part. So there we go. That part actually came out pretty clean on the first try. I mean, it probably has a lot to do with the fact that I could see what I was doing. So, but there we go. We've parted off both sides of my head. And then there we go, just making our first braid section. I did end up turning this section into 2 individual braids. I probably could have done 3, but 2 was satisfactory. And the way my hairline is, the closer you get to my hairline, the finer my hair is. So I didn't want to try to separate it too much, because then my braids might have been too thin, and I didn't want to risk breaking my hair off trying to attach a lock to a small amount of hair. And we're going ahead and braiding. I did smooth some of that pomade on the roots of my braid before I started, just to make sure everything lays flat while I'm braiding. And then braiding down like we have been for the rest of them. All right, and there was our second braid on that side. Yep, there we go. You can see I left off. The amount of hair I leave off it changes depending on the braid, but for the most part, they're all basically 2 inches or less. All right, and now we are on the top, well, the last row of our front individual braids. And we're going to go ahead and finish that off real quick. I didn't feel the need to show you all of those, and probably could have shown you less of the other ones too, but that's fine. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to do a section here on the side. You would think I'm about to start cornrowing here, but I'm actually not. I'm going to do 2 more individual braids on the side here to really seal in that individual look all the way around my head, because depending on how you style your hair, that part of your head may be exposed as well. So I just wanted to make sure that all of my bases were covered and I didn't have any of the perimeter where it looked like traditional crochet. I wanted all of the perimeter of my head to look like individuals, to give the illusion that my entire head is individual. I will say the evenness of these parts, not great, but the amount of hair looks even, but the parts themselves, the sections, not so much. And there we go. And I just did that on both sides. And now we're getting into the cornrow portion. Now, this is not a cornrow tutorial. I am not a cornrow professional, but I can cornrow effectively. Okay, it may not be the cutest thing, but it is effective. All right, so we're going ahead and combing through that pomade that we put on earlier, just so we can get our fingers in there. And I just start out by grabbing 3 sections, 3 like pieces of hair, like we have been for the rest of the braids, but now we're cornrowing. All right, so I've done the first one, and now we're, I believe, on the second. Yep, so that's the second cornrow. And I actually alternate for this as well. I did these 2. Oh, actually, that's the third one. Okay, and here I'm showing you how I'm connecting my braids at the end. So I will only end up with 1 tail of a braid hanging out instead of having a tail for each individual braid. You want to make sure you feed in the tail of the previous braid towards the top of the next braid. Otherwise, you run the risk of it looking bulky at the bottom. If you can see between that first and second cornrow, it's a lot looser. Like you can see how the braid gets loose, and that's because I almost forgot to connect my tails, so I connected it at the end, and the braid was so thick that I wasn't able to braid very tightly at that point. But thankfully my hair has just enough length where even though it's looser, it's still secure because I was able to braid tighter as I got down the length of my hair. And here we are in the middle, so I've already braided the other side of my hair, and you just saw me feed in the tail of the braid from the left, and then I'm going to braid down a few more rotations, I guess. And then once I have a piece of hair in my hand that does not already have the other braid in it, I'm going to grab the braid from the other side, feed that in, and then just keep cornrowing all the way down. Yep, there we go. And I am just braiding over, and now I'm switching my hand position so that my arms can be a little bit more comfortable. I know that can be a little tricky, but I have faith that you can figure that out. Okay, so we're done with the actual braiding portion of our hair. Isn't that wonderful? And as you can see, I am getting to be over it. So here's the hair that I used. I know I showed it to you a little bit in the beginning, but here's what the full pack looks like. The Free Tress Bona Locks 24-inch in the color number 2. And there's that. And then we have the hair we used to wrap, which is the Outre Expressions Twisted Up Water Wave Fro Twist, also in the color number 2. So here you can see I've already finished the back 2 rows of my head. I wanted to make sure that I was actually going to be able to do what I was trying to do before I showed you guys. And here you see it is 2:34 a.m. and I'm listening to I Hate You by SZA and serenading you, but you can't hear me because YouTube would give me a copyright strike. So here I'm going to actually show you the process of installing one of the individual locks. So you take your lock and hold your braid in your hand, and I'm feeling just a little bit down the braid. So about 2 inches down is where I settled on putting the lock, but that's basically up to your discretion. You just don't want to put it all the way at the root, and you want to have enough space to do the next step after crocheting in the lock. So once you have your hook through and your loop through, you want to make sure you keep the needle in the loop and pull the tail through so that you don't have to worry about trying to separate the loop again and get the lock through manually. It's possible, but it is a lot easier to do it with the crochet hook. And now I'm applying some of that pomade to the end of my hair just to make sure it's easy to grab with the crochet hook, because I'm actually going to fold that braid up, stick my crochet hook through the base of my hair, and then hook on my natural hair, so my natural braid, and pull that through the base of the braid. All right, and once you have that, you want to make sure that you have the lock hanging down at the bottom of the loop. You don't want it to be uneven. And then you're just going to wrap the end of your braid around the base, but only wrap it around the portion that is your hair. You don't want to wrap it around the actual lock, because when it comes to takedown, obviously I have not taken my hair down yet. It is still pretty fresh, but my plan when it does come time to take it down is just to cut the lock right below where the knot is, because that's an easy thing to feel, and I know my hair is not there because I did not wrap my hair beyond the knot. And now we're just crocheting in that loose hair. We crocheted that in from the base, and you want to make sure that one side is much shorter than the other. So I would say have one side be maybe 2 inches, maybe meet up with the knot from the crochet lock, so that way you have less to try to cover. And I just went ahead and wrapped that around and palm rolled it. Don't worry if I didn't explain that well or you weren't able to see it well, because I will pop on in a few minutes here and actually show you in real time how I did that. And here I am just showing you that when I did the wrap, there was still some hair hanging off, and I was able to just nip it off. And we're coming up on 4 o'clock in the morning listening to Yo by Chris Brown, okay? The tunes were bumping. That's what was keeping me going. If I didn't have music, I wouldn't have made it. And now it's 6:34. We have 2 crochet locks left, and I'm going to let y'all go, and y'all can talk to me in real time. I decided to come on here and do this last individual crochet lock live and in person and give voiceover Lindra a break. It is currently 6:40 a.m. I think doing my hair is the only time I ever pull all-nighters. Mind you, I'm still bald in the back, so we still have to fill those in, but let's go ahead and get this lock knocked out. Got this one. Okay, so I have my braid. I go down probably about maybe 2 inches. Is that about 2 inches? Yeah. Stick my crochet needle in, hook my lock, pull that through, and then slide the crochet hook back through, like keep it in the opening, and then hook the end of the lock and pull that through, so just so it's easier to, you know, loop the loop. All right, we got that on there. Now, the last few times I've done one of these on camera, even if I wasn't talking, it didn't turn out the best. So let's see if I can get a good one. It's a lot of these were just hit or miss. I did basically the same thing for all of them, although I did start kind of refining my process as I went on, determining how much hair to use to wrap or how far down to crochet in the lock. And this is what I've come to realize, you know, the 2-inch mark seems to do pretty good. And then once I've crocheted, I didn't even tell you what I just did. I just crocheted the end of my hair back through through the base of the braid, and then wrapped the end around just the part that is my hair. I don't wrap it around the actual lock. I only wrap it around my own hair. So my hair is only wrapped around my hair. And once we have that, I kind of just press that down because I do have the Edge Booster pomade on there. You can kind of see my end sticking up right there. We don't want that because that could potentially poke through. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. It's going around. Okay, here we go. Just add a little bit more of the pomade and just press that down. If it starts to lift while I'm wrapping, it just is what it is. Hopefully the wrap will keep it down if it does start to lift. And then I usually take probably about this much, maybe even a little less than this, of the loose hair. Here, I just took out a little bit of it. Yeah, that's good enough. You really do not need a lot. I did use one full pack. Not even a full pack. So after this is the last piece of hair I need to use, and I still have this much left. I did cut, both of the bundles in the pack in half. So that kind of doubled how much hair I had. But yeah, I didn't need the second pack at all. And I think I probably inserted a visual of the hair I used in the beginning, so I won't even worry about trying to tell y'all about that right now. So I just crocheted in one side of the braiding hair, and I keep this side pretty short. I try to like meet it up basically with where the lock starts, the crochet lock, and then I feel which way the lock twists, so the lock is twisting this direction. So I'm going to also wrap the hair this direction, so that way when I palm roll it at the end, I'm palm rolling it in the same direction that the lock is formed. And I do start at the very base, so like right above where I even crocheted in the hair, just so it's tight and neat and flat at the root. Just keep wrapping. And when I wrap it around, I grab it between my thumb and index finger, swing it around, grab it again, and just keep repeating that. we're getting down to the knot part here, so I want to make sure that that is covered. I don't have a whole lot of hair left here, but that's fine. It's enough to cover the... when I say cover, I more so just mean camouflage, because this is like solid, so it's still going to be a little bumpy, but it's fine because all of the locks are kind of bumpy, so it just kind of blends in with the rest of the hair. And then once I get down to the very end, so I still have just a little bit left here, I'm going to keep going until I can't wrap anymore. All right, and I'm basically out here, and at this point I just go ahead and palm roll it to kind of get that end to blend in with the lock itself. And there we go. I would love to say that I'm done, but I'm not. We still have to do the back of our head, but that's fine. That's the easy part. I wanted to get the hard part out of the way first. Oop, stuff bouncing around. Some of these I wrapped like extremely tight, so they're like flexible and stiff, like bendable, posable, if you will. Like, what is that? But as time goes on, they should loosen up. So that's not too big of a deal. And since they are flexible, I can just bend it in and then it, you know, blends back in. But now I need to, oh, that looks nuts, doesn't it? Having no hair in the back of my head. But go ahead and get this out of the way so I can crochet in the rest of the locks. So I have one lock, one bundle, and one full package left of locks. So I'm thinking this should be ample hair. This should definitely be good enough. So it took 1 2/3 of pack of hair to get just the parts that are individual. So 2 rows in the back and several rows in the front. It's basically 5 rows going back this direction. And then how many is it going this way? 1 2 3 4. Oh, 5. It's a 5 by 5 basically. Yeah, so, and this was, I believe, 40, I think 39 individual locks in my head right now. No, 49. It has to be 49 because each of the little thingies has 10, and I used a full pack, which was 30, and then 2 of these would be 20 more, but I have 1 left, so 49. 49 individual locks. But now let's go ahead and get started on these regular crochets, and hopefully we can fly through that, and I'll be in the bed before 8 a.m. All right, just snatching this off the back here. Come on, unravel. There we go. Did I drop one? Yes, I dropped 2. All right. And I don't need this braiding hair anymore, so I will just hang that off the back of this chair. Oh, this hair is a little heavy. That's fine. I expected it to be heavier than the hair on my head, as it should be. Obviously, I just am partially delirious right now, considering I have been awake for the last 24 hours. But for some reason, in this moment, I'm not even tired, actually. Somehow I am currently wide awake, and I think it's the adrenaline of doing my hair, because I haven't done my hair in so long that I'm kind of excited to have my hair done and for it to be done by me. I'm going to just take this scrunchie and tie my hair up in front of me like this. Just one time. It doesn't need more than that. I just need it out of the way of the back of my head. And then these shouldn't be too much of an issue. Yeah, those should be fine. So I will show y'all a couple of the regular crochets, but if you've seen me do this, this is far more complicated than just straight crocheting. I'm going to start at the very base of the first braid, slide my needle through, hook on my lock, pull that through, go back through, grab the end, lock that in, pull that through, and go on. Come on, here we go. And that's that on that. I'm not double knotting anything. I'm just putting them in. There is no need to double knot. All right, next one. I'll put it in the middle here. I think get that between two braids, yeah, which is fine. And that's another benefit to connecting your braids when you do your base. It gives you more places to crochet hair onto, as long as what you connected is sturdy. I know right here is pretty loose, but that's because I almost forgot to add that, like to connect these two braids. So it ended up getting added in at the end, which made it a little loose because the braid was starting at the thickest part of the braid. So it's all right. I'm gonna grab this, put that in there, come on through. This is the braid. This is the end of the middle braid where I connected the last two together, and I did crochet a lock onto the tail of that braid just so I didn't have to try to crochet the end of my braid into the cornrows. This is just an easier way. Well, I don't know, not necessarily easier, but I guess a more useful way of using that braid. Give you an extra individual lock. I look nuts. This is what 7 o'clock in the morning with no sleep looks like. And you do want to put a little bit of space between them, at least in the beginning. And then if you have hair left over, or if you feel like, you know, well, first of all, you have to have hair left over if you want to fill in sparseness at the end, but if you start out spaced out, at least then you'll have hair all over your head, and then whatever is left you can use to fill in where need be. Alright, that was the last lock from that pack, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up my last pack of hair, but I am not going to keep filming me doing this because I'm just going to keep doing the same thing until the back of my head is full, and I will come back and show y'all what it looks like when I'm done and don't look like this anymore. Alright, so I just finished my hair. I have you down here so you can see the length and also the thing that I should have anticipated but didn't. So this is how long they are currently, but if you can tell, there's like a length discrepancy. So the ones that are individual are like 2 or 3 inches longer than the ones that I just regular crocheted. Mind you, the regular crochet took me 30 minutes, if that, probably less than that. I probably could, let me be in the camera while I'm talking. I probably could have used like maybe 15 more locks, so maybe half of another pack. It's a little sparse in the back, but you can't really tell. I just took a picture of the back of my head to see what you can see. Here, you tell me what you see, and then I'll tell me what I see while I'm editing. What does that look like to you? Can you see my braids? But yeah, there is a length discrepancy here, so I think I am going to have to cut them. I was enjoying the booty length though, but I'd rather my hair look cohesive, so I'm gonna pull it to the front, See, you can really tell. Well, I guess not really, but you can tell from the front, especially if I smooth them out, and like you can see a lot of them are like here, and then there's some that are down here. I don't think I'm gonna cut them perfectly even. I think I might just round it out, and hopefully these shears can handle that because they've been acting kind of dull recently. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's not working, is it? Here we go, here we go. Okay. Now for the other side. They're much shorter now. I liked them long, but it's fine. They're still long, but like just not as long as they were. And there's still some relative unevenness, which is good because I don't want it to be blunt at the bottom. Yeah, well, that's that. Here's my little lock nubbies. Throw them in the garbage. Ooh, lost one. There is hair everywhere in here, but that is a problem for morning, Lindra. I'm just going to get this stuff out of the sink so I can use the sink in the morning. But other than that, everything else is staying where it is. Because it is 7:23 a.m. and I still need to tie up my hair some kind of way. Let's see. That's another thing I did. I braided my hair too low on the sides, so it's like really close to my glasses. I can still get my glasses on, but I can feel the pressure from my glasses on my braids. Oh, that's tight. I forgot what it feels like to have your hair freshly done because I don't usually have styles like this. Oh, I can't even tighten it all the way. Hold on. Well, that might just have to do because, owie, owie. This does not feel good. Am I gonna be able to sleep? Nope. They're ringing and heavy, but I'm gonna lay down anyway, so I won't even feel the weight. Well, love y'all. I think I'm gonna do an outro, so maybe I won't say peace, but still love y'all. All right, you guys have seen how I accomplished this look. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, got a few tips and tricks out of here. I'm going to stand up and let you kind of see the length of my hair. You kind of saw it in the video, and you saw that I did have to cut a little bit off. So it is, you know, like tailbone waist length. But yeah, so that's that. Also, if you have any interest in my beat, I filmed a Get Ready With Me. That video will be coming out after this one, so probably next week. But check that out if you are at all interested in any of the products I used on my face. I just felt like, you know, getting cute since my hair was done. I'm literally going nowhere. I did all of this to film this. But that's really all I have for you guys. So until next time, love y'all. Peace.